Oh, it's fine. I'm okay. Well, come with me. We'll leave Eamon in the kitchen. I'm talking now about Mumbai, the trip I did over Christmas. Mumbai, of course, it's in India. If you don't know about it, it's about a quarter the size of Ireland, so that's like one of our provinces. But the population there is 18 million people, half of whom, that's 9 million people, and we're thinking 9 million people in Leinster, say, are living below the poverty line. That means they're sleeping on the streets, or they're sleeping in slums, or living in slums. Now, the Irish charity Educo was set up in 2006, and they had a goal of educating slum kids and street kids out of poverty. And for every year of its existence, they want to build a new school, at least one school in India. And a couple of weeks ago, over Christmas, I went out to Mumbai just to have a look at the work that they do. And here are some of the scenes and the images that we filmed out there that pretty much I'll never forget. Have a look at this. The gorgeous kids there. That was in one of the orphanages, and also you saw shots of the slums in Mumbai. Now, I went over with my sister-in-law. She was interested in this charity. She'd met our next guest and wanted to go over and see what it was about, so I went over with her and met you as well along the way. Grattan Boyle, and you're the founder of Educo.
Yes.
Which is, I have to say, an amazing charity from all the work that I've seen over there. Can you just tell us about Educo and how you got involved and how it was set up?
I got involved about 2 years ago when I read that roughly 60 million children in India get no education at all. So when I read about that, I decided I would investigate further. And I spoke to a friend who had been a lecturer and who had been involved with India. And he brought it to my attention that he had been sponsoring this woman who's Sister Paulette. And she effectively she provides education for children, slum children in Mumbai. So I went over, I saw the work that she was doing, and really seeing what she's doing with so little and the enthusiasm of the children, I decided we had to get involved. So I came back to Ireland, and with two friends, Declan O'Donnell and Jörg von Geitz, we decided we would set up Educo with the aim to educate children out of poverty and to build a school each year.
And build a school. We have a little a map of India of some of the schools that you're currently building and schools that you've built already, and they range across the country.
Yeah, so the first school has opened, and that is in to the left of the screen, and that is in Mumbai. The second school, which is a vocational educational school, that's opening in Calcutta to the right on the east coast. And we've effectively, in the year and a half that we're running, we've raised €500,000, which we've spent on these first two schools with the deposit on the third school.
Okay.
And the goal for us this year is basically to raise a further 500,000 to complete schools 3, 4 and 5.
Okay. It's incredible. I want to go back to Sister Paulette that you were talking about there, because she's the woman who basically you're working with and you give the money to, and she
runs the schools.
Schools. Amazing woman, Sister Paulette and Sister Eliza. That's her there. She worked with Mother Teresa for 20 years?
Yes. Effectively, Sister Paulette is a French Mauritian nun, and she went out and has been she worked 20 years with Mother Teresa, and
there's Sister Eliza there.
And then she decided to set up herself because she was more focused on education, purely on education. So Sister Paulette and Sister Eliza educate the children in Mumbai.
And tough cookies. I have to say, they're hustlers. These guys have been trying to raise money to feed kids and educate them for years, and you don't mess with those ladies.
And they're doing it from nothing. You're right. I mean, one of the schools is in a slum which is literally in the grounds of Mumbai Airport.
Yeah.
And Sister Paulette has persuaded the airlines to give food from the leftover food from the airlines to support the children. So that's fantastic.
It's incredible. That's the school there that we went to visit, and that's one of the teachers there. Yeah. And I think there's another shot coming up of the orphanage that we went to see.
Yes, there's basically that would show there, for example, the children. The orphanage is very basic in terms of children actually sleeping on the floor in the middle of the day.
I mean, they don't have, that's what it's sort of hard to get our heads around. You sort of think, like I was thinking, where do they eat or where do they sleep? You sort of assume at least a mattress or a bed, but it's actually, they sleep on the floor. They get their food from the food that we don't eat in the airplane. They eat their dinner on the floor, but they're lucky. They're lucky to have dinner. It's a mad...
It might seem very basic, but compared to the alternative, which many of these children would have been street children or wouldn't have had anything. So Sister Paulette, you're right, she's incredibly resourceful with the very little that they have there.
In the slums of Mumbai, we went into the actual slums themselves, and we met one woman that I think we have shots of here. And as you were saying, the alternative, this woman is, she's dying of AIDS. Her husband has already died, and her daughter, she's in the school, as you can see, she's in the school uniform. She's going to the orphanage when it's already arranged that she'll go to the orphanage. This is her house with Sister Paulette there. And the houses are, I mean, they're the size of a bathroom, like maybe a big bathroom in Ireland, but a bathroom.
Yes, and as I suppose, as you can see there, that there's everything in that one room, from sleeping to cooking area to, it's just very rudimentary, very basic. And these houses, if you can call them houses, during the monsoon season, the water backs up there in the drains, and you could be up to 2 feet in water and open sewerage and so forth. So it's
they get flooded so many times a year. Yeah. And we saw the open sewers in the first footage that you saw, when you saw that like run of dirty, like rubbish
river
thing.
Of
that was the open sewer just there, and it's just outside their doors.
Yeah, which isn't any good, obviously, in terms of disease.
Okay, so that's the hard side when you go over and see it, and actually when you're over there, you're taking in so much, you don't process it. It's only when you come home you process the reality of it. But the good side is the schools, and the first school I saw was in Vasai, just north of Mumbai, and you've built it. You raised the money to build it.
Irish donations so that's...
And just, these are the kids outside the school just waving. This is the first time, they'd never seen the school before.
Yes,
and this is their first trip.
Opened in when you were over there. So this is the children in the schools, and this school will educate 300 children a year, and that will actually ultimately move up to 500 children a year. So that's the first school, which is for primary education. And as we move on, we'll get there's a second school which is in Calcutta, which will be giving vocational education, and that's for teenagers. So that would typically be for people who might have been involved with crime or the sex trade on the streets, so to teach them cooking, dressmaking, computer skills, useful skills that they will have and that they can earn a decent income from further on.
And because you were mentioning there, and I know you have another school, I saw another school that you just bought and you're about to build, that's going to be her secondary school in the slums as well.
Yes.
But you were mentioning there that they go into the sex trade, and you're trying to get them out of that and give them an education to move on from that. But also the alternative for them that we saw as well was, if they don't get this education, they're just begging on the street, or they're rag picking, which was something, I think we have a photograph, I'd never heard of.
It's such a basic, I mean, the location for our third school was actually literally in the midst of a rag dump, an area that was 2 foot high in waste. And so people there, you'd find pigs there, you would find people picking through rubbish there in order to get any kind of a living out of it, to recycle that. It's a very desperate and dependent kind of livelihood. So the aim is, with education, and especially education through English, that these people will have a better quality of life and that they'll be able to earn a decent income in a decent way. And
you mentioned their education through English, because it's all the American companies coming in, all the big jobs, the IT jobs, the call centres. When we ring through there, they're all the rich kids, because they go to private school through English. But these kids, what she's trying to do is give them the same education.
Yeah, Sister Paulette fundamentally believes that education breaks the cycle of poverty, and by educating through English, which wouldn't have been open to the poorer castes in India, that she can address the imbalance that is there.
And you said something lovely before. You said once education is given, it can't be taken away. And that's it. In terms of the future, in terms of funding, in terms of what's your hopes?
Yeah, our goal is basically within the next 5 years to be educating 5,000 children a year. So our immediate goal this year is to build schools 3, 4 and 5. And to do that, we want to raise €500,000, whether it's by personal donations or corporate donations. Or also there's the Sponsor a Child program. So Educo set up Sponsor a Child to help Sister Paulette's charges. While we provide the school, she still has to put school books, uniforms, pay for teachers, and
pay
accommodation
for
these children. So for what we've set up is for €25 a month, that the public can get involved with supporting a particular child. Now, with the first school with 300 children there, there's straight off 300 children that need to be supported.
Brilliant. Well done. We'll have all the details of that. It's educo.ie. We'll have all that on our website.
And also we have a local number, which is 1890 776500.
Okay. Well, we'll tell you what, we'll put all that on our website, and then people can find out all the details of that.
Great.
But it's a brilliant. I have to say, you're 36. You're 36 years of age. You know, I'm quite amazed at somebody that young, not out in the pubs, not doing this, actually doing incredible work for a charity. So I'm very impressed by it all. It was an amazing thing to go and see. Thank you very much for that, and best of luck.
Thank you, and we'll let you know how we get on.
We will do. Take care, Bláthnaid.